When we hear the word sex, our minds usually jump to one thing, right? The physical act. But what if that's just the tip of the iceberg? What if that incredibly powerful fundamental drive is actually the engine that fuels, well, pretty much everything? From the way we form bonds with each other to our greatest creative works and even our highest spiritual goals.
So let's just chew on this question for a minute. What if our most basic, most animal urge is the hidden wellspring for our most profound, most human ideals? That's what we're going to dig into. We're going to follow this raw energy on a journey all the way from the bottom of our brains to the very peak of human consciousness.
Okay, so to get this, we've got to start at square one, the biological nuts and bolts of this incredibly powerful drive. At its absolute core, our sex drive really has two main jobs. The first one is the obvious one, of course, reproduction. It's how we make sure the species keeps going. But for us humans, and some other animals too, it plays another absolutely crucial role, bonding. It's like a social superglue that creates intimacy and strengthens the connections we have with each other.
All right, now this is where things start to get really interesting and a whole lot more complex. See, the sex drive doesn't just operate on its own, in a neat little box. It's deeply biologically tangled up with another one of our primal instincts, aggression.
Yeah, these two are more like twins than distant cousins. I mean, look at this. They're both rooted in the exact same ancient part of our brain, the limbic system. They're fueled by the same hormones. In the animal kingdom, this link is super clear, right? Aggression is often the tool you use to win a mate. But for us humans, well, it's a much, much more complicated relationship.
And because we have self-awareness, this tangled-up mess of instincts creates this potent emotional cocktail. Think about feelings like jealousy, pride, even shame. Those feelings aren't really about the act of sex itself. They pop up when our conscious, social mind starts judging our own raw, animal instincts. It's the classic battle between our nature and our awareness of that nature.
So the big question is, how do we get from that raw, messy instinct all the way up to our highest ideals? Well, you can think of it like a climb, a journey where our most basic energies are slowly refined and transformed into our most complex feelings.
And we can actually use a pretty famous map for this journey, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You've probably seen it before. It's the perfect framework for showing how our primal energies evolve as we try to satisfy not just our basic survival needs, but our higher, more human ones too.
And this table just lays it all out beautifully. Just look at how the focus shifts as we climb up the pyramid. Down at the bottom, it's all about raw reproduction and defense. But as we move up, those same drives get refined into things like intimacy and group loyalty. Higher still, they fuel our ambition, our pride, our competitiveness. And then, right at the very top, that same primal energy becomes the source of our deepest creativity and our fight for the ideals we believe in. It's amazing.
Okay, so what's the actual mechanism here? What's the secret sauce that powers this incredible transformation from base instinct all the way up to higher consciousness? Well, it's a psychological process with a fancy name, sublimation.
Now, the most important word here is redirecting. This isn't about crushing or repressing that powerful energy. It's about channeling it. It's the art of taking that raw power and transforming it into something culturally celebrated, like making art, pursuing science, or showing compassion. And this isn't some new idea, by the way. Everyone from Freud to ancient mystical traditions like Tantra saw this as a key to human growth.
Just think about it for a second. When you're in a state of raw, instinctual arousal, what happens to your awareness? It collapses inward, right? Your focus becomes laser sharp, centered almost entirely on your own body and the physical sensations of that moment.
Sublimation is the complete opposite path. When that exact same powerful energy is redirected instead of just discharged, it does something totally different. It explodes your awareness outward, pointing your attention toward connection, toward creating something new, toward the world around you.
So what we're really looking at is a choice, a fork in the road for the exact same primal energy. Path 1 is discharge. Your awareness narrows and it leads to a physical release. Path 2 is transformation. The energy is sublimated, your awareness expands, and it fuels your creativity and your spiritual life. Now, if you want a fascinating, deeply personal look at this entire journey in action, you don't have to look any further than your own mind, specifically your dreams. They are like a private, intimate case study of how this transformation happens over a whole lifetime. It turns out, the themes that show up in our dreams aren't just random bits of mental noise. Nope.
They change in a really predictable way from childhood to old age. And that evolution, it perfectly mirrors the climb up that pyramid we were talking about, showing us how our primal energies get processed and refined at every single stage of our lives.
I mean, this is just remarkable. Think about it. When you're a kid, your dreams are all about safety, fear, monsters, and family. Then adolescence hits, and bam, those raw drives emerge. Suddenly it's all about romance, jealousy, figuring out who you are. Through adulthood, that energy gets woven into the real-life complexities of work and family. And then finally, in our later years, you see the ultimate sublimation. Our dreams turn toward nostalgia, spirituality, and transcendence. It's our own personal journey up the pyramid, playing out in our heads every single night.
Which brings us back around to one final, mind-bending question. A question that could totally reframe how you think about what drives you. Could it possibly be that our highest spiritual longings, our greatest works of art, our deepest feelings of compassion are not a rejection of our animal nature, but are in fact its final, most elegant, and most beautiful expression?